So how to utilize 2.5 days time gap for audit subject? Instead of 2.5 days, let's consider that as more accurately 30 hours. You are having 30 hours of time. How I calculated 30 hours is probably today, 10th November, advanced account exam is over. Maybe today, after taking sufficient rest, you may be studying some 4 hours. And then tomorrow and day after tomorrow and that next day, put together, you can study approximately 20 to 26 to 30. Getting it? So totally I can say today for 26 to 30, on a conservative note, 30 to 34 hours only the time gap which you can productively study. Don't assume that entire 24 hours you are going to sit and study. Definitely not possible. And most importantly, before exam, you must have sufficient rest. And within these 2 days, very few number of students, I can say, they can change the result. Maybe they don't have hope on audit, but within this 2.5 days, if they strategically put effort, they can change their result. In fact, maybe you deserve to qualify, but you may score exemption. You may score 60 plus, where you will have, distinctive marks. Getting it? So with a distinction, you'll get a mark. Now, first of all, how should we plan? What are the chapters that we should read at first? What chapters that we should give at last? Read at last. Last priority chapters and first priority chapters. Getting it? So this is my smart notes. First of all, before I proceed further, I'm going to attach in this video, you can see the, above, just there is an I, like reference mark, I. So if you click on that, you will find my marathon videos. Okay, definitely watch them. You will really have fantastic clarity. So watching a marathon and immediately reading from this book, Smart Notes. See, I don't recommend you to read now. If at all you already habituated to read from my Smart Notes or any other book, you go ahead. Otherwise, stick to your book only. If at all you have watched some other faculty marathon, then go and watch that only. Don't watch mine. Don't change last minute your decisions. But definitely, if at all you watch this revision class, it is going to give you a goosebump clarity like anything. Like those who watch my marathons, they know very well. Fine. So first of all, what are the chapters that we have and what is the order in which we need to study? How much time we should dedicate for each and every chapter? See, it's not how much time we should put, how much time it takes. Getting it? There is a difference. So there is a chapter called Nature, Objective and Scope of Audit. It hardly takes 2 hours to revise. I'm talking about revision, man. In class itself, we teach for 8 hours. In class itself, we teach for 8 hours. Teaching means so much we discuss, all put together. So, and you already listened to it, you revise, you already studied once. Now it's only a revision, 2 hours. Don't think about, when you're revising a one particular chapter, don't think about remaining chapters. Hey, when I should complete it hurriedly, remaining chapters, but there's so many. No, not so many. You are having all put together. As per my index, 17 chapters. Getting it? As per institute, you are having only 13 chapters. Getting it? So you're having 17. If you're able to focus fully on a particular chapter when you're reading, you finish it faster. Don't think about next exam. Don't think about next chapters which you are supposed to. You have luckily 2.5 days time. Getting it? So make use of it efficiently. So don't be in a hurry and ruin this 2 days gap unnecessarily. So peacefully dedicate maximum this much time. This is maximum times, understand, not minimum. Getting it? Nature, Objective and Scope hardly takes 2 hours. See, right side, whatever I have given, no. Let's do one thing. I'll just minimize it. You can take a screenshot of it right now. Take a screenshot. Okay, so that you need not come back to this video again and again after watching this. Fine. So now you see here, whatever I have highlighted with green, highlighter. Whatever I have highlighted with green, these are all priority 1 topics. These are the topics where the possibility of confusion is very, very less. While answering, it may be MCQ or it may be, a descriptive question. The possibility of writing wrong answer is very less in these chapters. And moreover, the possibility of for sure testing in the exam, any attempt you check, these chapters are something where you will get question once in 2 attempts at least. Most of the attempts you will get it. And the chapters which I've highlighted with yellow color, example, risk assessment, analytical, strategy, standards. Don't think, sir, standards. No, don't think. Standards means only these standards. Okay. So most, in fact, some students, they ask me, say, what is the standards weightage in CA Inter? I say them 70 marks straight away. Yes. Standards on auditing weightage at CA Inter is 75. In fact, I can say 70 to 80 marks. Maybe 80 marks I can stick to. Yeah, 80 marks is the weightage of standards. Sir, how come? The first chapter which you are reading is a standards. It's nothing but these 4 standards content. Audit report, you are nothing but 700 series, 700, 701, 705, 706, 710, 5 standards, 570, 299, 610, 8 standards. It's nothing but, this chapter is nothing but collection of 8 standards. So like that, each chapter is dealing with actually standard only. Majority of your chapters in CA Inter Audit, they are dealing with standards. In fact, in CA Final also, it is the same. In CA Final, you are having 46 standards now as per the new scheme. Fine, anyhow, ignore that. So, I hope you understood. So, standards weightage is 80. Among that, only these standards I am asking you to keep at last priority. Remember, last priority does not mean no question at all. No, you will get question. You will for sure get question. Remember, in the past 6 to 7 attempts, I am observing very carefully. Every chapter they are testing. Don't be in assumption that for sure a question will come from this chapter. What this chapter? In every chapter you will get a question. It may be an MCQ, or it may be a case study based question, or it may be a descriptive question, whatever. From every chapter for sure you will get a question. Day after, like after 2 days paper is going to come, right? I will prove. Hardly some 3 to 4 chapters only they live. Rest all other 13 chapters. As per my book 17, right? 13 chapters they will test for sure, either in MCQ or whatever. I bet. So don't be in old school of thoughts. These are important chapters. These are not important. Nothing. And don't even go behind ABC analysis. A category, B category, C category. Last attempt or before last, completely they tested C category concepts. Of course, in my book, in my classes, you don't even find such a kind of analysis also. So that's why what I always believe is, if you are studying at least 70% of the topics, 70% of the chapters, the best, you can definitely secure 50 plus, no matter how tough, whatever the level, C category, oldest, whatever the question it can be. Getting it? So fine, listen to this carefully. Hardly another 5 to 10 minutes. I'll close this video. I'll not take your time. Immediately implement this strategy and you will definitely give your best in the 13th November exam. Getting it? So Monday, right? 12th is Diwali. Fine. By the way, happy Diwali in advance. Fine. So you see, I have highlighted here very clearly nature, objective and scope. That's the first chapter you should read. Then company audit you should read. Then audit report. Remember, there is a concept called CARO. CARO is part of audit report. Understand. Don't read it immediately when you are reading company audit. Read CARO as per audit report. Best example, you watch my marathon, you will understand what is CARO exactly, all that. Now, on CARO, there is a possibility of 5 to 10 marks question only on CARO. Getting it? And on 700 series, definitely one question will come. Fine. Each topic wise, I cannot give like this. Why? Because every attempt, when the paper setter is setting up the paper, when he's reading the concepts, while setting up the paper, whatever the concept that, tempts him to test, he will test that. Simple logic. Paper mind setter, you can't predict. You and me cannot predict. But remember, read always the full chapter, not even ignore a single part of it. Don't even ignore a single topic inside a chapter. If you want to ignore something, ignore a chapter. Suppose risk assessment, you felt difficult, ignore it. Don't read. Okay, man, let 10 marks question come from that. It's okay. Rest 90 marks in your hand. No. So don't be in assumption that you have to write for 100. No, it's not required. So-called All India first ranker, second ranker, third ranker, on an average, they attempted for 80-85 marks only. Only a student who failed attempt for 100 marks. Most of the cases, you see. The All India first rankers, you see their interviews, they on an average attempt for 80-85 or 90 because they attempt for perfection. If you attempt 75 marks of the paper, the best, perfect answers, complete answers. You see, your answer need not just be correct. Your answer should also be complete. Complete means what? You should give complete understanding, complete sentences. One example I'll tell you. When you're reading now in these 2 days, observe all this. Observe, keep in mind all these principles. Suppose when you're reading, suppose example company audit, a very simple classic example which you can easily understand. Mr. Some question they'll give you. Okay, auditor is having shares in the company. So is he qualified or disqualified? How you will write, If auditor is having shares and securities in the company, he is disqualified. Therefore, in the given case, he is having shares in the company, is disqualified. That's wrong. You wrote correct answer, but not complete answer. What institute expects? If a person or a relative or partner is having securities or interest in the company or holding company or subsidiary company or associate company or subsidiary of its holding company, then he is disqualified. This is what they are expecting. And how you are rating? If auditor is having securities in the company, he is disqualified. What? Completeness in answer, completeness in presentation is very, very important. Getting it? Many students ask me, sir, should I remember terminology? Should I remember terminology? What remember? Do you have any alternative word for this? First of all, I am not very good at English. I'm very basic English I can talk. Even when I'm reading also, whatever terminology they gave, only that I try to understand. I don't have that much talent to bring an alternative word to it. I'm not that skillful. Whatever words they give, that itself I'll remember. I don't have that much talent to produce an alternative word, a synonym to it. No, I don't have that much talent. So don't think of that. The main problem with many students is they don't understand the concept of it behind each and every word. If they understand the concept behind each and every word, they don't have this question, terminology, nothing. Without the terminology, you can't write that paper. First of all, understand what substitute you have, financial reporting framework, what you can use alternatively. Such a very beautiful word where there is a lots of background, very big sentence is simply presented into 4 words, financial reporting framework. The rules and regulations for preparation and presentation of financial statements by the management is called as financial reporting framework. Instead of that, FRFW, if you simply use, very simple, right? So come out of that old school thought. Now when you're reading these 2 days, be careful. Ignore all your assumptions, all your perceptions, all your notions. Ignore about the next chapter, pending chapters. When you are reading nature, objective and scope, your objective is to read it thoroughly once. Read it thoroughly, slowly. Getting it? And try to connect with what you understood earlier. You might have already read it and understood. You might have listened to it on some class. Now connect with it once, slowly. Then company audit, then audit report. You see, I have given number here. Then society's audit. Immediately after company audit and audit report, you should read society's audit. Actually, society's audit, government audit, different types of entities, hotel, hospital, all these 3 topics are put together one chapter in the ICA book. But in my book, society's audit is something you should immediately read after audit report topic. Why? Because in society's audit, the provisions which you are going to discuss, the provisions which you are going to read are almost similar to company audit and audit report. If at all you read society's audit completely separately, you feel like a fresh new. If you read it immediately along with them, you understand that it's very connected and you can remember easily. In society's audit, most of the provisions are like what, in company audit, you see some points, read, remove company, put society. That's it. Society's audit is over. In such a way, the provisions are especially reporting provisions. Then documentation and evidence. In documentation and evidence, 500, 230, and there is a standard called 330. For you, SA 330 is not applicable as per the, see, we have totally 35 standards on auditing. At CA Inter, 9 standards we don't have. But some or the other topic related to those 9 standards are also tested. One standard which you don't have explicitly is 330. 330 is not there. But 330 related contents are covered in documentation and evidence very clearly. Nothing but one example. What are audit procedures? Risk assessment procedure, further audit procedure. Getting it? Risk assessment and further audit procedures are nothing but response to the risk assessment. Response to assessed risk is nothing but 330. What are further audit procedure? Test, compliance procedure, substantive procedure, test of details, these are all completely given in 330 standard only, not 500 or not 230. Getting it? Fine. Then immediately you should read fraud standard carefully. Remember, fraud chapter you should read carefully. Getting it? Very important, very small chapter. And you see, everywhere I have given right side how much time maximum it takes. If you slowly, neatly, carefully you read, this is the maximum time it takes. Believe me, not more than that. Believe in yourself. Trust the process. Next 30-35 hours of time. Dedicate qualitatively. Take adequate rest. Okay. Then sampling chapter. Then sampling. After that, automated environment. After that, bank audit. And after that, items of financials. And you see, items of financials, I gave 4 hours time. Because though items of financials is a very easy chapter, it's not easy to remember these points. So you need to understand, give some sort of the logic and try to recollect everything. Getting it? So that's why I gave 4 hours of time to it. And moreover, among all these chapters, items of financial statements is the biggest and lengthiest chapter. So that's why it have 4. So like this, I have allocated for each chapter what is the time that it takes on an average to revise productively, completely. If at all we have 1.5 day time, then the case would have been different. But you have solid 2.5 days time gap, which is a very good opportunity now. Okay, so 33 hours it takes, and we also have 35 hours in our hand, 30 to 35 hours. See, I'm not saying you must follow this schedule exactly. For some students, NOC may take only first 1 hour. Company audit take 2 hours. This may take 2 hours. This may take 2 hours. This may take 1 hour. Depends on student to student, depends upon his perfection. This is just a guiding number of hours which I gave. That's it. So then after you finish all the chapters which I've highlighted in green color, then come to the chapters to revise in the yellow color. Again, the order in which you should revise, that is again different. Remember, the order in which you revise, that is also different again. Now tell me, so this is the next chapter you should read. The moment you come, you see, after finishing 10th topic, 10th priority topic, 11th priority topic is what? Different types of entities. How to do audit of hotel, how to do audit of NGO, how to do audit of charitable trust, how to do audit of club, local authority, LLP, hire purchaser, all this. Government audit. Then, 11th audit of different types. Then audit strategy, planning and program, where 320 materiality topic is also covered, which is also important. Remember, don't worry, all these points I've covered in my marathon also. Many of them I have covered, not all of this, but 70% of these topics I've covered. Then after that, government audit. Then after that, if you still have time, analytical procedure. Then after that, these balance standards, 501, 505, 510, 560. Preferably what I will do is, right now I will interchange, make this analytical procedure 15, standards 14. Make a small modification, please kindly. Standards 14, analytical 15, finally risk assessment. If you still have time after revising everything, then risk assessment. You see, risk assessment takes 3 hours. I'm telling you, risk assessment and internal control is a very tricky topic. Getting it? Which requires lots of real business visualization. Getting it? Fine. This is very trickiest topic. That's why I kept it last. And first thing is fundamentals, which I don't count at all. But what I recommend you is watch my marathon. In that, fundamentals is covered. Just watch fundamentals topic enough. Remaining rest, you read it. And if at all you just want to learn all of this by watching marathons, you can happily watch. But remember, listening to YouTube videos, marathon classes is never a substitute for reading. Day before exam, what is most important is reading. Do watch marathon and read. Reading should be given most importance. I many a times notice students that they watch marathon day before. Marathons will no doubt give you a good clarity, but reading is what ultimately important so that you can write well. When you listen to a marathon, you understand well, but when you read, you can write well. What is important for exam is writing well. Writing the best is important. So what you need to do, you listen to it. Read, you give. Give more priority for reading whatever content that is applicable for the exam. I hope I have clearly covered all the points. Okay. So don't hurry, don't get tensed. And coming to some students ask me, sir, what about amendments? Sorry, man, audit amendments are not that important. There is one amendment in 147 penalty provision. I feel ridiculous when students ask doubts on that section. They focus so much time on that. They waste so much of energy on that. Not required. Getting it? Audit amendments and all, they will not test. First of all, in the new scheme, the company audit itself, they removed. In the new scheme, I'm telling you, amendments question itself will not be there. But anyhow, just go through once in the RTP. Amendments will be given in the RTP itself. Just go through once. And once after you finish all this, then finally you have to come to RTP. Getting it? Don't read RTP at the beginning at first. Finally, at last, after finishing everything, then come to RTP. If possible, suppose if at all you ask me, sir, can I ignore any of these chapters? I suggest you to ignore risk assessment, analytical procedure. That's it. These 2 chapters, I can tell you straight away, ignore. Not that no questions will come. No, it's not like that. Questions will come. I can confidently say from these 2 topics, risk assessment, analytical put together, I can expect 10 to 15 marks, not 15, 10 to 15 marks. Questions will come for sure. But remember, paper is for 120, man. Out of it, 30 marks is for descriptive. 90 marks you have. 30 marks is for MCQ. 90 marks you have. Out of it, 14 marks again true or false. Then 76 marks you have. Out of 76, you are supposed to write 56 only for descriptor. 20 marks you have choice. Literally speaking, 1/3 of the paper you have choice in the descriptive portion. So you can ignore these two, not an issue. Rest all other chapters, you are very strong, you are very confident. So that's it. But what you can do is you can give a single reading. Remember, reading means just looking at the sentence and turning the page. No. Understanding the implication, understanding sentence meaning is not important. When you read something, you need to understand how does it impact the overall audit, how it impacts on the reporting. That if you are able to understand, that's when you are learning conceptually. If you are just understanding meaning and trying to remember, you are not learning conceptually. You need to understand the implications. When you read understood something, how does it impact in the overall audit? That's what important in auditing. That's what important, especially for solving MCQs, especially case-based. Okay. So all the very best and do well. Definitely, whatever the efforts you put into, you deserve your result, whatever the result. Getting it? That's it. Have a nice day. All the very best.